are about to begin your art, I don't know what the right word is for it, magicianship. And I wondered if you could describe for me the ways in which art, and in your case, illustration, has helped you to understand what you went through and transform it into a form that you can use to connect with other people and to help heal others as well as yourself.
Yeah, I think it's been maybe the most important aspect, because I think I've always loved drawing, like since I was a child, and that was something that got lost, especially at the time of the abuse. And then it's been so nice, like feeling like as I've recovered my real true identity, the identity is being expressed through art and illustration. I think it's very transformative.
Do you feel like when you draw, you kind of connect to yourself more closely as a kid, some aspect of yourself? Because you said that you feel like your drawing got left behind when you were a kid, probably on account of the enduring all the abuse. But it feels like it's a craft that you're returning to, but also that a part of yourself that you're returning to. Drawing,
even when I was a kid, it felt like it allowed me to go into this different world. And I think it still feels like that a bit. It's like it really, I feel most connected to myself maybe when I'm drawing.
I've seen that you you draw stuff that's very playful and hopeful, that has sprung out of the imaginary in your current life. But it also feels like you've drawn a lot of your experiences as a kid and lots of the times that you were hurt. And through drawing them, you've in a sense revisited and transformed those. I guess in a sense, I've also drawn a lot of my experiences as a kid, a lot of the abuse that I experienced. I guess in a sense it provides a documentation of something that went undocumented amongst the adults who denied it, and the perpetrators who hid it. And it also went undocumented to some extent in my own internal landscape, because there was no one to talk to about it. And often when there's no one to talk to about an experience, it sort of lingers in this ethereal limbo. But I feel like for me, drawing those experiences has anchored them and allowed me to put them behind me. I now know certain abuse experiences are in the past, not just because I've processed the emotions, but also because I know that the illustration that I did of them is, in that drawer or in this file on the computer. Like I know to some extent it's been documented, and I've processed it through that documentation. Do you feel the same? Or?
I definitely feel the same, yeah. I feel like a very important thing for me, even as a child, experiencing it was documenting it. Even when I remember things, I remember it so visually, and it was like I was mapping out everything in my mind to be documented one day. So it definitely feels like that with the drawing and with the writing. It's like it's a process of documenting it, and I think it definitely processes it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel the same thing, that in the midst of all the pain and horror and confusion of those childhood experiences, there was some aspect of me that was determined to remember one day. I almost promised myself, one day when I'm strong enough and I'm as big as those people who are hurting me, I'm not going to do what they did to any kid. I'm going to speak out about this and stop it. And I held that thought with me for decades.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. Like it just felt like that was part of the reason why I'm here as well, to remember these things, to be really aware of what's happening.
And to speak out about it, presumably.
Definitely.
And to maybe let others know that they weren't alone in experiencing these things. And it's okay to speak out. Because I think there was so much fear in me about speaking out. It's probably a subject for a different podcast, but the way in which I healed most substantially was quite dramatic. And so I transformed in a sense overnight from someone who was very scared of speaking to someone who really couldn't keep quiet about what happened. So much so that I think I came into huge conflict, and still do, with the taboos of society, which is that we shouldn't talk about this.
That's why I was so hopeful with the art school as well, because even in one of the interview process to go there, they asked, because I'd written about that I like confronting taboo subjects in my essay or something, and then they said, can you go into that more in detail? And I said, well, a lot of the work is about childhood sexual abuse, and it was very positive for me to be able to say that in front of 20 people, and for them to accept that and to be admitted, because I felt like that could have been something where it could have quite easily been like pushed to one side or...
Sure, I feel like a few years ago, telling an admissions board at a university that your work focused on childhood sexual abuse, I think that would have terrified them. But I feel like there is a change in attitude towards that, and it's very inspiring to hear that your art school was enthusiastic about your work and enthusiastic about allowing you space and time and, in a sense, guidance to speak out more.